Hello, hello. What's going on, Eurovoxers? I'm joined by Dominic. How's it going, Dominic?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm realizing that we're missing so many things. We're missing this, and we're missing our names. Sorry, the excitement of our first national selection has got me a little bit thrown off guard. But guys, we have our first selected song through a national selection for 2021. And Dominic, who is it?
It's Peristeri with the song Kava.
Yeah, I think that this was a bit of a surprise for some people, considering that there were a number of favorites, as there tends to be with Thick with every selection really. And I don't know about how you felt about it, but for me, when we saw this for the first time on night one, it really emerged as a true contender. And we had talked about the songs before with Paolo and Lydia, and one thing that we noted was that it has a tremendous impact, especially with that opening bar. It lets you know that it's here and it wants to be heard. How did you feel about Anxhela's performance?
I was impressed by her voice, first of all. And as you have said, I kind of saw it coming. Like, I wasn't that surprised about her winning in the end. Even though, like, in the first attempt, I was like, well, maybe it's gonna be forgotten. But remember, it's jury only. It's Albania. So you always have to keep that in mind. So I understand why she's the winner.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I think before the announcements were made, we kind of were talking before, and we were quite confident that it seemed like it was going to be Anxhela. Although there were definitely lots of great performances. There could have been a lot of really good performers to represent Albania. Let's go to the live chat and see what you guys are saying. Hello to Patrick Novak. What a pleasant surprise! Yeah, definitely. Nix is not impressed. Hello to Christopher. Hello to ESC Manga. Tom Stevenson says she seems likable and has a good voice, and the best stage show song is a bit MOR. Do you know what they mean by that?
Nope.
Okay. I'm just going to assume that it's something nice.
Middle of the road.
Oh, okay, middle of the road. Well, one thing that you have to consider, firstly, the fact that this was a scaled back version of Thick to begin with. And second, we don't ever see something be directly copied and pasted from Festivali Këngës to Eurovision, like we might see at something like Melody Festivalen. So there's certainly lots of changes that we could see. I think that one of the things that you mentioned, Dominic, that was that it ticked the boxes for you as far as it being a Eurovision song being sent by Albania, right?
Yes, definitely. First of all, it's a woman. Let's take a look at the former contestants. Like, except for Eugene Push Pepper, I think it's only woman, right? I think the
Yeah,
last male was 2013. That was the last male group. But
yeah,
besides that, it's only female, and then it's very dramatic. It's very like that's the kind of song Albania would send. So it's already like okay, it's like Albania, Greece, Bulgaria, this kind of region. So you already have a feeling where it comes from,
mhm.
and I think it's also very building up, and in the end, it's very, yeah, as I've said, very dramatic, and especially like long notes. I have the feeling Albania is going for the long note ballads. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I really understand why they picked that. It's within their pattern.
Yeah, they definitely like those not only the kind of big Balkan ballads, but the ones that really show the vocal capabilities of their artists. And we know we can always count on really powerful voices from Albania. Let's say hello to Nerton. Nice to see you. Hello to Clavs. What's going on, Andy? I know that he's working on his reaction to Angela's song, and I believe this was his favorite, so he's going to be pretty happy. Hello to Cypher Fox. Valdit Bici or Biki. I'm from Albania, and this was my winner since the beginning. Oh, great! So you must be thrilled that this is going to be the one that's going to Rotterdam. Marky Mark says hello. Sarah, it's Anxhela that won. Anxhela Peristeri is going to. Well, I mean, it is possible that the song could change, but usually when it comes to Albania and Eurovision, they do tend to send the song that competes at Festivali Këngës to Eurovision. Of course, sometimes it gets translated. The translations don't always see the same kind of warm reception that the original Albanian versions do, but we'll have to wait and see about that. Iasing Manga says that he wanted so badly for Karma to win. Congratulations, Anxhela. Hello to Serdian. I just missed your comment, but I saw it. I have to go find it again. Emily Freeman is saying that she's so happy that she won. She was her 5th place and elated. People need to remember FIC is a prestigious show in Albania, not meant for a Eurovision final like France's show is. Yeah, and that's a good point too. One thing we have to remember about FIC is that its history predates its time as a Eurovision selection, because Albania has only been in participating in Eurovision since 2004, yet the show has been going on for almost 60 years. So we do tend to see music that sounds like Albania, and we don't really see the kind of big stage epic shows that you would expect from some of the countries that have been doing this for much longer, right?
Yeah, exactly. Also keep in mind that this is like December and Eurovision is going to be in May. So even though they're saying, well, the winner's going to go to Eurovision, I think it's a different thing because the time is so huge in between. So, yeah.
Yeah. Anything can happen. Sarah's going to put this on her party playlist.
Interesting choice.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that would go over at a party unless somebody like busted down the door belting it.
What are you talking about?
A karaoke party, okay? That would be acceptable.
Yeah.
Marky Mark is saying that he's happy with the result, but he's sad for Ines Naziri and Merud. Yeah, 2 favorites that we'll definitely talk about. Cypher Fox said that he wanted Era to win, but Anxhela was amazing too. I was definitely one of the people in Team Era's side, as I was last year. I think that deep down I knew that it wasn't going to be the song that was selected, but I'm really pleased with the performance, and I think that she put on the show that everybody was hoping for. Did you like Era's song, Dominic?
Yes, I think she was one of my favorites. In the beginning she wasn't, but with her performance she really got my attention for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope she comes back every year, even if she doesn't get selected, just so that I can get my fix. Emily says the biggest shock is Festina coming second, to be honest. So I have to say about wait, was it second or third?
Festina was third.
Was third, yeah, that's right.
Sardi was second, yeah.
Yeah. Both Festina and Sardi were surprises to me. I have to say that I didn't really pay that much attention to Festina's song until the very end, and she was one of the last. I think she was like second last to perform.
Yeah.
And I remember watching it being like, this was really well performed. The style of song is quite understated, which we see quite a bit at Festivali Këngës. But I think that the performance was really solid. And I had made note of it. I didn't think that it would do as well as it did. How did you feel about Festina's song?
I think the most remarkable thing about her song was her voice. So it was very distinctive, and I was able to remember that. I also remember her dress, which was like black, and it looked a bit like a ballerina, kind of.
Yeah.
I think. But I must say the song, I can't remember quite, to be honest. So I don't understand. But I think again, Albania, the jury is really going to the voice. So I think the voice has a big value, and the song may not be as important.
I would say definitely voice, as we always mention when it comes to Albania, but I would also say that composition really matters. And it isn't to say that hers was based on composition alone. I probably wouldn't have put it as high myself, but I can see why it was respected. I think that again, there's lots of really solidly composed songs that we see at Festivali Këngës. Let's talk about Ines. So Serdian is mentioning that Ines not coming top 3 is a shocker, to be honest. And I have to agree. I mean, part of me is also remembering that, there's always fan favorites. There's always people who really, really hope that a certain song is going to win and believe that it will happen if they want it enough, and yet it doesn't.
Hashtag Chicholina.
That's right. We were talking about that exact thing about 10 months ago or so. Nonetheless, what did you think about Ines's performance?
I was impressed by her dress. First of all, the dress was amazing. I loved it. And her voice was also great, and I really understood the hype around her. And I was kind of like, okay, I think in the end it's going to be either Ines or Anxhela. And probably because Ines also takes a lot of the Eurovision boxes. So it's also pretty impressive. Her voice is great, long notes, ballad. So it also takes the boxes.
Mhm.
It's not as traditional cultural as Anxhela, and I can see that this is the reason why Anxhela won in the end, you know?
Mm.
But I was shocked that it wasn't even top three, so I was definitely seeing it like at least second or third. So I don't know what that happened, why this happened, but yeah.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I thought. I was telling people that I thought that she was a lock at least for the top three. And yeah, I think that like it was really solidly performed. I agree with her with your thoughts on her dress. I think she looked amazing. All three nights she looked really great. Um, it's hard to say because yeah, I think you make a good point about how Angela's song is perhaps a little bit it's safer in the sense that this is what Albania is known for, whereas Ines' song was baby excuse me, maybe I don't know where my words are tonight, but maybe a little bit more of like a general's not the right word, but yeah, it's the kind of ballad that you could see coming from other countries, and maybe they were looking for something that felt a little bit more Albanian. Nonetheless, great performance, great song. I'm looking for when it's going to be in the music stores because I would like to put that in my library. And let's see. Tyler saying, Gary, that Albania is sticking with their current trajectory, easily showcased by second, third place. Televote needs to come back. Era and Ines. Has there ever been a televote at Festivali Këngës? Do you know?
Honestly, I don't know, but I was shocked that I like figured out that it's jury only. I thought that's not existing anymore. We have 2020, like
Mm.
I don't know. It sounds like 90, 60 or 70 because that there the jury was normal. But I think in current times it should be at least 50-50 or something. And yeah, you can see the controversial over the picks, like not only this one, but also last year. I remember Metana and stuff. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's a bit weird that the public has no say at all. I can see that it's not like 100% televote,
Hmm.
but at least give it some kind of influence. Like being there, knowing there are very good songs and not having an impact at all. It's a bit frustrating, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, again, because it's a show that predates its time as a Eurovision selection, I suppose that integrating that might be a bit of a hard sell for, because this is really like an establishment of Albanian music. So, playing with that might not sit well with certain people. But I have to say that I agree with you, and it would be nice to see some kind of integration of a public vote system. Which isn't to say anything about the songs that have been ended up. Well, again, my words are somewhere else tonight. The songs that have been chosen for Albania, I have always liked them. I do think that perhaps if there was a televote included, it just might improve their chances at the actual show, because we always know that they tend to flip flop. Like some years they qualify, some years they don't. They very rarely get into the top 10. So
Yeah,
perhaps that would improve the odds.
but keep in mind that they are mostly better with the jury. If you compare the results from jury to televote, mostly it's more jury leaning to the jury side, and maybe that's the reason because like the festival council is jury based only, so maybe that's the direction they're also going for.
Yeah, and of course there are a lot of countries that struggle with that. They seem to have no problem getting the televote and lots of trouble getting the jury vote. So it's definitely not a quality that they want to lose, I would say. But perhaps introducing a televote would be able to get that kind of happy medium. Nonetheless, this isn't any kind of commentary on Angela or her successes, because I think this is a great choice, and I think especially considering the kind of journey that the song takes you on. This is one of the things that we talked about a week ago, and it really feels like those 3 minutes fly by because there's so much that happens from that really powerful opening to when it gets soft, and then her voice kind of picks it up a little bit more. Then the dancers come out, and then it builds up to this big kind of epic finale. So I think that lots could happen here. Let's see. So I know that there's been some comments on Merud because he was obviously one of the favorites. Another choice that people saw would be a different direction for Albania. So let's talk about Merud. What were your thoughts on his performance?
So first of all, I would say that he made the biggest improvement. So I saw his performance in the first day, like 2 days ago, and it was very stiff, I must say. And I really saw his not feeling very comfortable with the situation. I don't know, something was in his eyes, like, I don't know, he looked scared. But I must say he was way better today. I'm not sure about the dancing. Maybe it would have been better that he concentrates on the singing and the backing dancers do the dancing. I was a bit confused by it. Also, yeah, I don't know. But especially I like that one thing I have figured out, like he gave a microphone to a dancer and then he danced, but the backing dancer was dancing as well. So I was like, what's the point about the microphone? But anyway, yeah. So I was already expecting it's not gonna win for the same reason as Era. So it's gonna go for the same direction here. But I was very happy that he at least made it to the final, and that yeah, he was part of the show.
Definitely. And I think that he should be proud of what he was bringing. I know that there's a lot behind this song and it means a lot to him. I do have to agree with your comments on the dancing because I think that on the first night, he was really struggling to do well. I mean, on both the first and last night, the singing and dancing didn't really come together. And I think on the first night, the dancing was definitely getting in the way of being able to sing the song effectively, which is like the most important part. Also, the fact that it must be a very difficult song to sing just based on what he's doing with his voice and the range that it takes. But yes, it was a tremendous improvement. He was definitely the most improved from the first night compared to the last night. And again, I want to give my compliments to him on the song because I think it was really, really well done. This wasn't his year, unfortunately, but maybe there will be another time for him or another path altogether. So yeah, that's how I feel. Look, like how Ines Merud and Era did not even end up top 3 was correct show. So yeah, we've talked a little bit about the possibility of bringing in televotes. We don't know if it's ever going to happen. I wouldn't underestimate the choices for first, second, and third. But knowing Albania and knowing the kind of songs that they appreciate, at least for Merud and Era, those songs aren't really in that category. It will be interesting to see how they did overall, because I remember Era from last year, I believe that she came 5th. Do you know?
No, I don't know that.
Yeah, and I love how I said I know, and then I'm like, I think, yeah, so obviously I don't know. But she did quite well. And it was kind of a similar song. It was up-tempo. She brought all the flair and personality. I liked this one better this year. I liked Ziari'in. But yeah, we didn't talk much about Sardi. Tell me about what you thought about his song.
Yeah, good thing. I was a bit surprised that he came second. But especially where I have no idea if the running order has any influence because it's jury-based only. So I don't know. Normally we say second half is better, first half is meh, and stuff. And he was the first one to perform out of 18, and then coming second is pretty great, I would say. I remember the show because it was with a cage and there was a woman inside, and it was very dramatic, and it was pretty cool to watch.
Mm-hmm.
It may be a bit distracting because I barely remember the song as well. So
Mm.
it's like, I don't know, yeah. But I remember that his voice was great and he had personality. So that was
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. I that was it was clear on the first night, but also tonight. I remember watching this and thinking, this is pretty solid, and definitely he was able to make an impact with the visual show, which is hard to do considering that this is a stripped back version of Fick, given the social distancing and all the restrictions that were put on them. But he really made an impact. And I would disagree with you in the sense that I do remember the song. It wasn't one that I had really paid much attention to before then. But that tends to be how it is, right? Like things change when you actually see it on stage. And that was one that was consistently one to watch every night. So I'm really pleased that he got second place. Again, it's a surprise because I was expecting to see Innes somewhere in there, but he was definitely deserving of a good spot, and I think that that's great. Um, so yeah, I don't know if there's anything else to say. Were there any other performances that you were really pleased by?
Yes, I had like one, I don't want to say surprise, but like a song I really, really liked and was my favorite, and she delivered it quite well. That was, let me read it out, Gigliola with the
Oh
song
yes,
Elire.
yes,
Yeah, I
yes, yes.
really liked that song. It was my favorite to begin with.
Mm.
And also because it had some dubstep elements, and I liked the little piano riff, or what it was, like in the chorus.
Hmm.
Da, 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 da. I remember that. And I really like that. Um, and also, I must say, Rosalie Gilibiu with the song Vasheso. Not
Yeah.
Albanian here. Don't get me. Um, and
You're doing your best, which is what matters.
always. And she was pretty cool. I remember her like with the lasers, and also it was a great mixture of traditional sounds and also modern sounds. I'm always a fan of that. So honestly, I was kind of hoping she can at least get in the top three,
Mm-hmm.
but here we are.
Yeah, it's a tough competition. You can tell that there's lots of talent, not just on the stage, but behind the scenes in terms of the songwriting, the composing, and everything. Um, and yeah, I was really lucky to get a chance to sit down with Rosella, and I learned so much about her because she was actually one of the backing singers for oh shoot, I can't remember her name, but the very first performance of Albania at Eurovision in 2004. Um, so for her, if she would have been chosen, she would have been returning to that, and she has a tremendous career. She's won Këngë Magica and has participated in FIC on a number of occasions. So yeah, I was really really impressed by her performance. Giliola, I also really liked as well. It was when listening to the songs at the very beginning, it was one that stood out to me for those electronic qualities that I really like. Um, one that really one that really stuck out to me was Jessica Polo, who again, it was a song that I had made note of when listening to the songs for the first time, and I was prepared for it to be somewhat emotional. But she really, really, really did well, I think. And in particular on the second night with the stripped back versions, because you can just tell that it's a song with such a deep meaning to her. And like, if I were to extrapolate the meaning based on the information that I found, I believe it would be about somebody who passed away. And she looked like she was thanking somebody up in heaven, and yeah, so I was really really pleased with that. And I was hoping to see it maybe slide into the top three, but again, it's quite a competitive selection. Donkey is saying he absolutely loves the song and performance. Even without a revamp, it would be one of your favorites. Cool. EC Manga is saying Merud's performance was not very good, but it's surprising that in a certain era we're not in the top three. Yeah, and that's more or less how we feel as well. Yeah, I don't know. I think that we pretty much said all that we can say. Did you enjoy the show, Dominic?
Um, Yes, especially I think we have to say something about the circumstances. So this is like the first national final during Corona, basically, and I
Yeah.
think they did a very good job. It's outside. I really saw them freezing. I felt sorry for them, especially
Yeah.
because there was always like this sign that it's cold, very cold.
Yeah.
So okay. Um, Also, it wasn't that long. Normally, it is famous for being a long show, like San Remo,
Hmm.
and but it wasn't that long. I think it passed by pretty well, and I also like the staging. I think the LED was pretty cool. Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by it.
Yeah, I would echo pretty much everything you said. It's great that they were able to put this on considering the circumstances. And we'll also have to keep in mind that we might see the remaining selections for this year do similar things. I know that obviously lots can happen in just a matter of months. So it will be a really big question about how the other countries are going to adapt to whatever the circumstances around the pandemic are. Nonetheless, I think this was a great effort on Albania's part, and I think that this was just a great show overall. I'm really happy that they've kept the tradition alive. And also, I want to say one more thing because Serdian has mentioned it. Eugen Bushpepa did a performance of a song that's really important to Canada because it's by one of our most well-known composers and songwriters. Um, he did Hallelujah by Leonard Cohen, and he nailed it. It's one of those songs that's kind of covered to death. So, whenever somebody kind of starts with it, you're always kind of like, oh, how is this going to go?
It's like a Whitney Houston song, like you really have to nail it, otherwise it's
Yeah,
like meh. And he nailed
yeah.
it. He was great. He was the best singer of all, I must say, honestly.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, lots of great singers tonight, but he still kind of showed up
yeah, he
and
really nailed it. Yeah.
and nailed it. Yeah, and he was also able to make it his own as well, which is important because a lot
Yes.
of people try and do what somebody else did.
Yeah, good point.
Nonetheless, I think we're going to leave it there. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I can't wait for the rest of the selections this year. I know it's going to be a little bit of time before the next ones, but I believe if it's consistent with the previous years, that once January rolls around, it won't be long until Lithuania starts and Norway, if they're still sticking to their 6-week thing like they introduced last year. So there'll be lots to follow, lots to keep up on. Be sure that you subscribe to eurovoxx because, of course, we're going to be covering it all as it happens. Don't forget to give us a like, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and you can also catch up on our news, all the Eurovision news that we can find on eurovoxx.tv. Dominic, I'd love to wish you a Merry Christmas, a Happy Holidays, all the best to all of you. Hope that you all stay safe, and we'll see you on the next video. Take care, guys.